It doesn't get more explosive and outrageous than somebody on live TV.
Yes. Let's break that down.
It's over. That is the realest moment I've ever seen in my life. It's just a real person. She had to go poop. And she wasn't allowed. And she pooped on there in the show. And they got that. And like, I feel like I'm that. That's me. I saw myself in that. And I was like, wow.
Hi, I'm Courtney Revolution, and I am a reality TV personality and entertainment host.
Hey guys, I'm Jade Catta-Preta. I'm a comedian and the former host of the iconic show The Soup.
Hi, I'm Monica Loomba. I'm also a comedian, and you can catch me on a couple Netflix shows.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Sabo, and I'm a comedian and just somebody who really loves soup.
Perfect.
You guys,
That's
welcome to Rivals, where we go head to head in a nostalgia fest. And it's all about all the culture moments, the best culture moments that we have to argue about.
Pop culture moments of 90s and 2000s, folks. That's back when things mattered.
They were chaotic. They were incredible. We were building things that link to today's society positively and negatively.
And we weren't online at that time to talk about it. So now that we are online, we're going to talk about it and we're going to battle it out.
Yeah, this is going to be a little nostalgia hug, so tune in.
A little Y2 slay for your Y2K.
Wow. I didn't know.
That was a perfect statement.
Dr. Seuss.
You guys, we have an amazing and epic battle today. We are discussing these two networks that raised us. Actually, it's giving VH1 versus MTV.
Yes.
And to get into these two teams, obviously you're looking at the winning team right here. MTV, Team MTV, me and Jade.
Yes, me and Jade.
Great, that's awesome.
That's
and
cute.
we are the actual winners. VH1.
VH1, baby.
Where the real musicians
The real
go.
music.
What?
The real channel.
The real
The
channel.
real world.
I don't think y'all even believe
No, we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, these are two iconic channels that probably raised all of us and still have, you know, holds on society today in different ways, which we'll get into.
And we have a lot of respect for both. So just as a disclaimer, we don't, we have a lot of respect for both of these networks. This isn't like real. We don't really think that like one is better than the other. Well, we do. It's our job. And that's what's going to happen. But, we just want to remind you that like we're friends.
As if we say something that's offensive to MTV and you're obsessed with MTV and you're at home being like, how could she say that? Get in the comments.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment.
Talk to us, baby.
Well, we're about to get into these networks, but last week we did Christina versus Britney, and you guys commented, and we know the clear winner now, and the winner was... it's Britney.
Oh,
down.
That's fine.
Christina
all of a sudden,
Aguilera fans don't necessarily need to comment because they know the truth.
Yes.
They're too busy learning how to dance.
They're a dance class.
They're on vocal rest.
Thank you guys for commenting on all the Britney stuff. The Britney people came out, the Spears
The
fans,
Britney Army.
The Britney Army. You guys are strong.
Wait, what is the Britney Army called?
The Britney
The
Army.
Britney Army.
Amazing.
And you have to salute.
Crickets.
And I can tell you've never been in the army.
The Britney Army. Where have you been? Are your eyes open?
No, I know. I guess that this is the Beyonce thing. Like, what is the Britney thing? Like, what is the most? I guess this.
What? That is like Bollywood.
No, this is from her.
This is from Oops.
Thank you so much for commenting. We read them all and we loved them. And I'm with you. Christina's the best. And it's hands down, there's no competition.
All right. Well, we read
I
the
don't
different
think we're on the
comments.
same show,
Yeah, we
yo.
read different comics. Yeah, and thank you.
Thank
and
God.
Brittany thanks you, and I thank you, and
Top fans
They're
across
on
the
vocal
nation
rest.
thank
No,
you.
they're on
even
vocal
Kid Fred
rest.
thanks you
Because they have an audition. They're on vocal rest because they have an audition because they're
Right.
actually the singers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, she was busy. She was at a concert with Sabrina.
Yeah.
But without Brittany and Christina, these networks would not have been who they are today. So I'm so excited to get into it.
Very true, actually.
Yeah.
Very, very, very true.
We all know MTV because you guys taught me that the V is from the word television. Music, television. VH1, what does that mean?
Video Hits 1.
Well, we didn't have to say anything to that because I feel like she said it all.
We just gotta let it
cool.
breathe
Just let
after
it
that.
die.
I think that's pretty
line.
cool.
Look, yes, we're the ones here with this beautiful wallpaper arguing over these very important facts, but it's really up to you, right? Every week, you guys are the ones who pick the winner. So make sure your voice is heard and you tell them the truth. MTV is the best. All right, we start in the early days, okay? We're going, it's the 50s, it's the 60s, it's the 70s. Rock and roll is the devil's music. And it's not on TV. But then MTV comes along.
And then they decided.
I don't know if MTV comes along. Video Killed the Radio Star was the first ever music video.
And we needed a place to play that. And it wasn't going to be on any random channel. It's going to be on the music television. What's a V?
Music television, of course.
I see. Okay, yeah. Well, I was raised by MTV. That's why I don't know how to spell it. Yeah, music television, the first of its kind. Hello, MTV.
MTV gave us a platform sort of to like enjoy music videos, and it sort of allowed artists a new avenue to express their art versus just putting out a song. We could turn on MTV and see the music video, and even some music videos premiered on MTV, which was kind of like a big deal for me.
Oh my God, it's such a big deal. You'd run home from the ice skating rink or wherever, the mall, wherever you were, really important places, just to watch these music videos. So I feel like early on, MTV was the first of its kind, and it gave a younger generation a voice when we were like really not as important. Like we were getting jobs.
Yeah.
I feel like MTV set the tone.
We were in the war, and now
like,
it's like music.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very cool. And I feel like what MTV, tried to do and evolve is interesting. But I do feel like VH1 came onto the scene and they were like, okay, we see what MTV's doing. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit, I don't know, scratching the surface. VH1, no, we want to appeal to like a slightly older audience, a slightly more, less pop culture, more like artist focused channel, right? Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that its mission was to like highlight these artists versus
these kids are too
TRL
cool.
Live, which you guys will get to. And I'm like, what's that really doing for our
Yeah,
culture?
like what about the people that wear Birkenstocks? They need a channel.
I agree.
For me,
No, right though. No, that's right though.
Birkenstocks in a big tote bag.
As a gay immigrant, which I will talk about every episode, MTV meant everything to me. Like that was who I wanted to be, where I wanted to be. It's literally what gave me like the vision of where I wanted to be. And then I worked for MTV and it wasn't as glamorous as I thought, but
Now Jade.
it's what drove me, and it meant so much to me as a kid and to all my friends. So this is exciting to get to talk about it and to be on Team MTV.
I think for me, just in general, both networks, to be fair, like have played a really big part in my life. I feel like with MTV, I wouldn't know what I wanted to do with my career in terms of like talking about celebrities. You turn on MTV News and there's Such and Pac and there's Sway with his head wrap on.
Oh my God.
You get what I'm saying? Like memories.
Yeah.
VH1, like you never know what true anxiety is like until you're actually a teenager watching New York potentially lose for the second time on Flavor of Love. Like, do you understand what it's like?
That's a lot.
To be wrapped up in your blanket in the bed waiting for school the next day, and that commercial break between the time Flavor Flav left us on that cliffhanger to the time that he denied her ass again.
They could have been together. God. They could have been together.
It's the most wretched love story of all time. And it's one that I hold near and dear to my heart.
So you're Team VH1.
No, I'm Team...
Without VH1, you would have never gotten Flavor of Love, which is the greatest show of all time, I would suggest.
Of all time? You're just jumping out the window.
I'm obsessed because I'm with her. Because what she's saying is right.
It's the greatest show of all time. It was amazing. And clearly, you're still thinking about it. I see you. Your heartbeat is... I see your heart beating out of your chest.
Throw you a bone because you're on Team VH1 first of all.
VH1 for someone like me. Okay,
for
someone like me who loves the facts, I love the truth, and I love the real rawness. I have a Scorpio moon. I love VH1 because that's what it was. We had pop-up music videos, and we had Divas. And we're gonna get into all of this, and then Flavor of Love, and then also Rock of Love. Two amazing names for shows.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say with VH1, I loved the behind the music and kind of like just understanding a little bit more than just like the top 10 playlists every Saturday. Like I feel like with VH1, I knew what I could expect. I will throw MTV a bone. I did love TRL Live. I did love Carson. I wasn't a children's choir that went to New York and sang at Carnegie Hall, and I did demand my group and my chaperone to go outside and watch TRL Live.
That's pretty cool.
And I saw Carson and his
Did he look
behind.
at you?
Did you scream?
I screamed. Oh my God, I was in my khaki shorts and my polo shirt that said my choir thing. And I was freaking out for sure. But
that is actually really cool. And I do, anytime I am standing in a building where there's a window, I always am like, Tiara!
I think that's the beautiful thing. We all have a childhood memory that ties back to those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nowadays it's like the TikTok and the Snapchat and the blah, blah, blah. I'm so old I'm putting a "the" in front of it. But that's what.
I'm like, Jade, you do all those.
That's
I'm
I do.
I'm like, go to Jade's page. She's definitely on TikTok.
Also on OnlyFans, if you guys want to look it up. At Funny Butt. But
At Funny Butt.
that's my handle
That's
on
one hell of
OnlyFans.
a
This was
name.
but this was back when like channels like they mattered. Channels used to matter.
I think that's true.
They
though.
did.
It
Like,
did.
and it was, so that's why like MTV was cool, sure. But like for me, I was like a weird kid and I always like wanted to know, I guess like, I didn't have Wikipedia back in the day. We didn't have Wikipedia. So for people like me that would have loved a Wikipedia, VH1 came in and it was like, you like information? You like facts? Well, here you go. And I loved music. So that's why it was so cool for me. And then on top of that, having all these weird shows. And like, I grew up in a place where like, everybody was just like in the woods. We know that. They were in the woods. Nobody was really interesting where I'm from. It was just like people that were just like going to Walmart. And then, so when I was watching like Rock of Love and Flavor of Love and like those
The best show of all time.
amazing shows, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. And these people are just like being themselves. And then it helped me to kind of be like, I want to be myself and I want to fall in love with Flavor Flav.
Let's just like get to the point. You just love Flavor Flav.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
He had his clock around his neck. What's going on?
You'll always know what time it is.
VH1, amazing shows, a lot of information, but MTV was the beat of, it was the vibe. It was the beat of society. Like, it was like, if you're a teenager or like early 18 to 25, I would say their
I would say that's pretty much the demographic, yeah.
You knew about MTV and what was going on. Let's get into like early shows that so many epic shows we could get into.
TRL, Beavis and Butthead,
Oh, yeah.
Daria, Celebrity Deathmatch.
Made,
Celebrity
True
Deathmatch.
Life.
Oh my God. Made in True Life.
those were my
We need to like
shows.
pause on that because that's crazy. Those shows were crazy.
No, because they really showed like it was the first place where teenagers could see other teenagers on TV. Like there
Other
was
than
nothing
just
like
going
it.
to school. You
Yeah,
can see
but-
teens at school.
We hated them.
Yeah, we don't want to go to
Go
school.
to school.
Teens that are inspirational.
Watch
but-
teens at school.
But to your point, you're in the woods. You don't know anybody except bears and deer.
It's only
okay?
Sasquatches and walks out
Then
there.
you see a
Okay.
girl that's like, I'm from New Jersey, and we get to see like these people's everyday lives in such a cool light.
But
Bump
remember
it to
in
lip
Made?
liners.
I guess that's cool.
Remember in Made when it's like, she was like, I want to be a cheerleader. I forget that
I remember that
episode.
one.
And then at the end, it was like, she just wasn't very good at being a cheerleader.
And that's real.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
but that's
real.
also, and she probably feels bad about that
Yes.
nowadays. So that's a bad show.
She's
No,
probably
she
on
feels
some
great because she
reality
makes a
show.
dream that she's not good at.
You know what? Like all these memories. Like I remember there was like Made. I need bigger calf muscles, and it was about like a gay guy getting a calf implant. Do you guys remember?
I don't
this?
think that was made.
That sounds like True Life.
That's
True Life, True Life.
Or My Strange Addiction, which is another show.
That's another show, not on either network.
Shout out
It's
TLC.
Yeah, TLC.
We're not sponsored
the
by
Learning
them.
Channel.
But wait, for you guys watching this right now, if you have a favorite nostalgia moment from MTV or VH1, get your fingers typing in the comments because we're nosy and we want to know.
I mean, hello, date my mom?
Date My Mom,
Yeah.
Room Raiders.
Room
Who-
Raiders.
Some dirty, dirty rooms with the black lights.
They would
was
kidnap
so
kids
crazy.
and then go through their panty drawer with black lights. You can't do that nowadays.
Yeah.
And for a good reason.
And now, now I clean my panties. After that show, I'm very aware.
I do feel like now talking through some of these things, I do feel like MTV did create like a toxic culture.
Maybe
Yeah.
more like
I'm like,
invented
all
reality
these, no,
TV.
I'm like all these shows where we're like, let's focus on this weird part right here.
I
Like
do-
this makes sense
yeah.
for what TikTok
It kind
is
of
right
messed with
now.
me
Do
if
you know
I'm
what I
thinking
mean?
about it. When I was like a little girl, I remember my older sisters always had like boyfriends. And I was like, do you guys want to room raiders my room? And they were like, no. And I was like, who wants to go room raiders my room?
here's a black light. You
And
guys
they were
check
like,
it.
no. But I remember one time I did get my sister's boyfriend to come in my room and he was like, cool. And I was like, room
You were like,
raiders.
this is the best day ever.
Yeah, and that's toxic.
No, but you guys, that's how we found out about the rest of the world. Like, I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing the Jersey one and I was like, I'm from Jersey. Like,
Okay.
it all started
Okay.
with music.
Yeah, that all started
And then we
muted.
went into like actually learning about musicians and like knowing about their life. And like, it sort of created like the young celebrity vibe that we never had before.
I feel like there was a wall up between like us and celebrities before MTV really started to like give celebrities like TV shows. Like even down to like someone that's like an athlete, like Ryan Sheckler, the skateboarder. He had the show Life of Ryan. People were obsessed with him. Even going back before that, Bam Margera.
Oh
Like
my
he was
God,
a
Bam.
su-
Oh my God,
he was
that
a
was funny.
hyper
Yeah.
famous like
From
skateboarder. from
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Shout
he
out.
had
What was it?
Viva La Bam.
And
Yeah, Viva La Bam.
Jessica Simpson.
Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey, they got married and MTV immediately put cameras in their face.
I mean,
for
remember
Yeah,
when she
but-
thought
but-
chicken of the sea?
Yeah,
she thought
yeah.
it was chicken.
Yeah, yeah. But again, we're saying all
Tuna?
these like more vapid shows. Like
Right.
VH1 had storytellers, like behind the music, like pop-up video, like
Yeah.
all these
We were
acoustic music. We're focused on the
And
music.
Wait, we had
VH1 now,
Unplugged.
hey, stop. VH1 didn't want to just like okay, Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey. That was like not okay. And then obviously they got divorced, so clearly the show didn't work.
Yeah, but now he's like the host of every
know
dating
what
show.
It's literally flash over substance.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you
They
know
were
what I
just
mean?
about like,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
let's
saying.
take advantage of. They took advantage of
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
They,
And that's what they
oh, I
did.
know what
VH1,
word.
VH1 wasn't doing that. VH1 said, here's a light and we're going to shine it on the truth.
Yeah.
No, but that's not true
Yes.
because look at shows like The Real World,
Thank you.
Road Rules. They were like just putting in a camera and not really like producing these TV shows yet. Like,
Oh, you
they
don't think they're
ro-
producing that?
Not to the
Oh,
not
give
to
me a
the
break.
extent that they're doing now.
Here's
Here's
an
the thing.
example.
I
Here's
feel
an
like I feel like VH1 definitely told the stories of artists, which is great, fine, and dandy.
Full stop. Full stop.
However,
MTV showed us on TV, the youth.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see us on TV for once.
It was
Instead
like
of seeing
Nickelodeon, but-
celebrities
Yes.
that were on every channel
Yeah.
anyway.
There's a reason why rock music was not put on TV in, like you said, the 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
whatever. Because it's bad for us. Like what MTV did is like bad for
and
us.
also regular people should not be on TV.
listen, Candy's bad too, but like, how dare you? We're canceled immediately. The show gets ripped.
Regular people should not be on TV.
What makes it a regular person?
That's
you
a
mean
good
like
question.
a
I mean, like-
non-actor?
Yeah. Because, yes.
Here's the thing. Don't be called music television
Yeah.
if you're not going to be about the music.
That's what I'm saying.
And VH1 is actually about the music. MTV was like, oh, come over here. We're about the music. No,
That's-
we're about spring break.
Spring
And
break
that's
was
music and ass
And
shaking.
Girls Gone Wild.
Where
That's
there
not
was music and ass shaking.
And OnlyFans.
well,
Where there could potentially be music and
I'll
ass
say
shaking.
this. I'll say this.
My
MTV,
OnlyFans
that's
is attached
great.
to my
If that's what you
Spotify.
guys want to do, you want to do all that stuff,
Yeah.
get a different name for yourself.
Yes.
Because.
And excuse me, I know some of you are watching right now and
You're
you're
saying the
like,
same
wait a
thing.
second. Why is it named music? We
Because
need
there
to
ain't
hear
no
from you.
music.
'Cause
There
we
ain't
need
no
help.
music on
We need
there.
help from you right now.
You guys, how about Unplugged? Hello, the most classic, beautiful show where they showed artists like doing the acoustic versions of their songs, and then we would do like a little docu-series of their
Oh,
life.
and what did that last?
One
Like one
copycat.
season?
It's still on.
Oh, it is.
Like 20 years
Fine.
later.
But does anybody watch it?
Yes,
Probably
I
not.
watched the Miley Cyrus one the other day.
We
Really?
love an intimate
I love
performance.
Miley.
I do love Miley.
I love
I do love
Miley.
Miley.
She's my number one.
A
Yeah,
little
Miley Cyrus.
moment.
Yeah.
I know. Let's just all have a moment for the sexiest girl alive, Miley Cyrus.
Miley.
There was a gay for pay episode of True Life.
Oh, there was. True Life was my favorite show. Why don't they bring it back? It's like kind of what the Vice.
They tried a
apps
little
are.
bit, and it just like didn't. Like
I
maybe in
think
like
this
2016 or
culture
something.
right now, I think people are not like
Like TikTok is literally MTV.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True life.
and
I'm a
it's going to be
Mormon.
canceled as it should.
I'm a,
Should be put out of
that's the
TikTok-
thing, though.
I think
know.
TikTok should.
I
be
don't think I've
canceled.
seen that one though.
What?
True Life, I'm a Mormon.
Oh,
I didn't see that one.
I don't think I've seen that
I
one.
didn't see that one.
Really
well, I
crazy.
meant 'cause
One of the
that's what- yeah.
housewives was the Jersey girl.
Yeah, MTV was created first, but then VH1, the early days of VH1 was like, okay, we see what you guys are doing with like all these young, hot, spring break, naked girls. And VH1 was like, remember Elton John? I do. and I want to bring him onto this. Like, so they were more about like the actual artists and like they didn't care about like who was new. They cared about like the genuine, iconic, legendary artists that like shaped music.
And like the full picture, right? So it's like we're getting the music videos, we're getting behind the music videos. Like
Yeah.
we're getting this peek, this full picture into artists. And they probably were like, oh yeah, MTV is music television, but we're actually gonna like do a more sophisticated version of this.
And we're
They
not
tried.
afraid. We're not afraid of like, oh, is this gonna sell? Because we care about the music, and so it appealed to a more mature, kind of more like refined audience.
And I
But
think-
no love
and-
for emerging artists though.
Yeah.
Only the iconic
They
legacy
still
acts.
top
did.
10
They
lists
still did
every
emerging
Saturdays.
artists. They could do it all. But whereas MTV just only cared about like young people and perpetuating the standard that like once you reach a certain age, you don't matter anymore. And VH1 said, "Oh, that's not true."
That's
Yeah.
not true. There's stepdads named Gary who are gonna love this. I
I'm
feel like that's what they.
MTV do
What are you
tributes all the
talking
time.
about?
What y'all talking
I feel
about?
like VH1 had that vibe of like Uncle. You
I
know what I
agree.
mean? Yeah.
I
And
agree.
uncles matter.
Yeah, uncles.
They matter.
Uncles matter.
You know what I mean?
That is your t-shirt.
Yeah.
That is your
Matter.
t-shirt. Uncles
I'm sorry,
matter.
but like uncles, if uncles aren't happy, who's happy?
No,
Everybody.
Everybody else.
No.
Literally
I am
everybody
not pro
else.
uncles. If you're an uncle, I want you to comment. I'm an uncle, and I appreciate Alyssa for saying that I matter. VH1 was for
Yeah.
the uncles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was for the.
But I also I
uncles.
feel like VH1 like kept a pulse. Like yes, MTV was like doing these cool like headline like things, stunts, whatever, like a upgraded Nickelodeon, if you will.
Yeah.
But like VH1 is like keeping the pulse on music. Like they
Yeah.
had their weekly top 10. Like people came to them for like the actual facts. You know, we'll get to Divas
Yeah,
later.
they knew. Well,
but
they
like,
knew that like talking about Billy Joel and Whitney
Yeah.
Houston, like that was going to be enough. They didn't need the. They didn't need the fake ass reality television,
Okay,
which
but
we
there
all
wa-
know is detrimental.
Then why did they copy MTV?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a copy, but like a
They
little bit
didn't.
of a weird copy. Like we had TRL. That's what mattered. TRL made artists.
TRL was actually the polls. That top
Yeah.
20 countdown y'all talking about on Saturday morning, we wasn't watching. I'm so sorry.
Maybe
like,
you weren't
is
watching
Carson
it.
okay?
Carson
Where
is
is
actually
Carson?
so
thriving.
much
Yeah.
TRL. Like,
yeah,
I
he
don't
did
know.
too many episodes.
He did too many
Yeah, he did too many
episodes.
episodes.
Poor Carson. He never got to change his outfit.
Yeah, he was always dressed like an uncle.
He was familiar for us after school.
Yeah.
Some of
Also,
us needed
in
that
those boxy,
familiarity.
in those
after
boxy jackets they always put him in. Sorry, Carson.
And we were talking about this earlier, but we were like, MTV is really the precursor to TikTok, which
Yeah.
is destroying our society.
Okay,
And
China.
paying my bills.
Just
Yeah.
to speak
So
to
we
Carson,
love them.
I will say Carson Daly did sort of feel like he belonged with VH1, and I bet that, and this is alleged, but I'm sure VH1.
What the hell?
I'm sure that they tried to get him.
No, I know what you mean. No, I know what you mean, but it was
Carson
know.
Daly would never in his boxy jacket
Oh.
life step foot on that top 20
You
countdown.
know
Are
But
you
I
kidding
agree.
me?
But I agree.
Yeah.
He's more VH1 vibe in
You
my head
think?
too. Okay, but this is why they
Love
got
him.
him because remember
Not on an island.
MTV also had news like
Yes.
really early on. Dave,
Oh
what
my
was
God,
Dave's
I
last name?
remember
I just
that.
met him at a
Holmes.
wedding. Dave Holmes.
Dave Holmes.
And who was the other guy? The
Dave
the
Holmes,
dreads.
Sway,
Sway.
Such and Pac, Ananda. We had our VJs and our news anchors.
Yeah, and VJs they brought in, you know, all these like Pauly Shore. There was like VJs that were like the faces of the network, which no network had done before.
Well,
Sure,
VH1
sure.
knew that the face of their network would be the stars. The musicians. They didn't need.
Yeah,
they
the
didn't need to
stars.
bring in people.
They
They don't need to bring in
pretend to be a
personality.
news
Yeah,
source.
yeah. They
Like,
didn't.
it's not a news source.
This
Like
isn't the news. Go to
MTV
NBC.
was almost like, let's just throw anything at the wall
Here
and
we-
see if we'll
Yeah.
get viewers.
We're about to have another conversation about the full package.
right.
Wow.
MTV gave us music videos. They gave us interviews with the
TV
stars.
shows.
They gave us TV shows. They gave us animation.
They gave us the award,
They gave us the.
the Moon
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Get 'em
We can
again,
talk at the
Jade.
VMAs. We can talk
They
about
gave
that if
us
you want.
they gave us moments. I mean, the kiss between Britney and Christina wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the VMAs.
Which,
And
by the
okay,
way,
sure.
if
You
you're
ain't getting that
interested
on
in
Divas.
that,
Oh, yeah.
you can go to our other episode, which is Britney v. Christina.
Okay, so sure, MTV gave us the VMAs, but then VH1 would do something like behind the music to talk about it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
What?
that to me is, it's actually giving.
yeah, it's like the Cliff Notes.
grandfather.
And sorry, and
Telling the story.
Divas, right?
Oh,
they had
yeah.
Divas, which
And
is
that, I don't even want. I'm gonna get really passionate
No,
if I
let's
talk
do
about
it.
divas.
Let's
do it.
You
Let's
guys
get into
know.
it.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows how I feel about divas, and I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where they focused on was the vocals, the performances, the talent,
Yeah.
and that was it. They didn't need any flashy anything. They didn't need the stunts. They didn't
don't
need
need
that.
slime
They had the
coming off the
talent.
walls.
They had the talent, and
Yeah.
they weren't afraid to bring on Aretha and to bring on Whitney and these musicians that were maybe older. They didn't care that they were older, and because they said you're a diva no matter how old you are. And that is a problem because once you reach a certain age, once you're past 30, you're out, get out of here. You know, in American Idol, that you have to be 25 to audition for American Idol.
Hey, chill out.
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Yeah, she's okay.
I'm sorry, your life isn't over because maybe some people when they're 25 are Christian and they
Oh,
don't know what
God.
they're doing.
Okay.
This is yeah, I don't know. We
Audience,
lost.
I want to ask
Your
a
life
super
isn't
important
over.
question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Audience, if y'all watching right now and you lived through the 90s and the early 2000s, can you answer this pregunta for myself? That's questioning.
That's question.
Espanol. Which was more impactful throughout the 90s and the early 2000s? VH1 Divas or the VMAs?
Okay.
Get your fingers click-clacking in the comments
yeah.
and let your voice be heard because we're listening.
And also, like, a network doesn't have to just show music. It also has to entertain and influence people.
Wrong.
I
You know
disagree.
who should
Wrong.
influence you?
Who?
Yourself. You should be influencing yourself.
Yeah, I know, but I also want to be. I also want to like be entertained and like.
Oh, so you want to be influenced to spring break and have to be naked?
But that's not all that
Do you
MTV
understand that Spring
showed.
Break is what I wanted to do when I grew up?
When
That
I-
was inspirational and motivational. That was good social time,
Oh
good music,
my
and it
Here's-
looked like a beautiful cocktail.
Here's
Yeah, and a
here's what we
cruise.
need. We need to be watching people who are building themselves and their career and their craft and like seeing that over a lifetime versus just clickbait headlines. Like we need to be seeing
But that's
Whitney
not what it was
Houston and Aretha and Elton John, like understanding the hard work and
Yeah.
perspective and the creative
That
perspective.
is what I want my
that it
children
takes.
to be watching
And
if
that's-
I ever have them.
and to be seeing someone the full length of the career, because I think what MTV was promoting is like, yeah, this thing where it's like, okay, you get past 35, what's your marketability? Nothing. Like
No,
you're
I
out
think
the show.
they were just finally giving a place for kids that age. We didn't have a space where we could enjoy being that age
Yeah.
and seeing
Oh, the
ourselves on
club.
TV.
The
no,
club.
no, when you're younger and you're not in a city where
At
there's
8
no
years old.
clubs. Like I'm in Virginia where there's like one lesbian club in the middle of the woods. Like we're not allowed in there. And like so it was finally like a place for us to see ourselves and like to be excited about being young and to like hook up and like listen to music and like also inspire people who are young to be artists, like to want to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you're making a point for VH1 right now.
I think
though.
you're making a point for VH1 because
Why?
what VH1
Yeah.
did with Behind the Music is it showed you the journey and how to get there and how to do it. MTV didn't give you any
Yes,
tools.
it did.
Actually,
Tips.
a lot of the stories that you hear on Behind the Music could be heard in a quick little 10-minute TRL interview
No,
for being honest.
But we
Yeah.
don't want them in a quick
No.
interview.
Sometimes I just want the facts from the artist's point of view,
Me
and I like to
too.
move on.
Sorry,
with
if you
my
want a
kid cuisine.
documentary,
If you want a
watch a
Thanksgiving-
documentary.
Hold on. If you want a Thanksgiving dinner, are you going to get your turkey in the microwave or are you going to do your slow cooking your turkey?
Uh-oh.
So
The last thing I'm
VH1.
doing on Thanksgiving is turning on VH1 because they're going to play the Temptations movie
over and over and
Over
over
and
again.
over
What
and
if
over
you want to
again.
know
Terrible
about the
movie.
80s? I love the 80s. I love the 90s. What if you want to get a piece of culture and understand from people at that time, comedy comedians, comics
Right.
comedians, talking about it, debating about it. What if you
What-
want to hear about that?
What if it's kind of like what we're doing right now?
Okay,
you
without
want
I
to
love the
understand
80s,
without
What
just
about
a
this?
clickbait headline? Like, what if we're
What
trying to
about
learn
this?
something?
I was on that show and I didn't know anything about that show because everything I learned was from MTV. I couldn't have been on that show without the knowledge that I learned on
And
MTV.
if I was your boss, I
Wig
would
snatch.
fire you.
in order in order for that show to exist, MTV had to come first. Once again, it's a
What?
Britney Christina situation.
I agree.
You're giving too much power to MTV and not enough power to the actual artists and the songs and
Correct.
the radio. Hello.
But that's what we're fighting. It's not about the network. It's about the network and their
VH1
vision.
was kind of more of like a pit stop because I feel like whenever an
Yeah.
artist wanted to promote something new, they would always go to MTV first. Certainly not VH1.
I know that for me, like my entire career went the way that it did because of MTV. Like I remember seeing VJs and being like, oh my God, I can do this. Like it's not just one thing. Like they kind of created the influencer brand where it's like somebody talking as themselves, but for a network. Like
I agree.
it was just such a cool thing. I had never seen, like Cindy did it. Didn't Cindy do one?
Like Cindy Lauper?
No, model.
Oh, Cindy Crawford with
Cindy
the mole?
Crawford. Yeah.
She was a
a VJ. She was a VJ. She had her own show on MTV, House of Style.
You know, for me, I understand like that is the same. Like when I remember as a young girl, I was always like, I was so obsessed with, I used to talk to like all the old people in my family. I had a lot of great aunts and great uncles. And I was always like, tell me about what was it like? What was it like when you were around? And I was obsessed with that. And so when that show on VH1, like I Love the 80s and I Love the 90s came out, and it was also funny. Like I remember watching that and being like blown away and I was captivated by it and I couldn't get enough of it. And it also made me, like I love my mom. Okay, that's something about me. Monica knows.
I know.
I love my mom. And
Shout
I
out,
remember
shout
watching that show, like I Love the 80s, and then being like, Mom, so where were you whenever Michael Jackson's Thriller video came out? And then I was able to like talk to her about it. And it was like a really
Yeah,
cool
same.
moment.
Yeah.
And so that show, like those shows in particular, and it also made me be like, oh, I want to be a comedian because it would say like Hal Sparks, comedian. And I was like, oh.
And they would
shout out to Hal.
debate like back
Yeah.
and forth, and they
It
would
was so
provide like a
cool.
smart POV on the time. And
I
I feel like
loved that.
I loved watching.
Yeah, those shows were
capsules
important.
like that.
It like
Yeah.
it like made me, it like put me on the path. So, and I'm like, I'm glad that VH1 decided to do that, and they weren't just like being like MTV. Which
Also,
was,
Yeah, but they
I was
did
like-
kind of copy the setup of like straight to camera talking that first started on like the Real World Road Rules, like where they would do their confessionals.
Yeah, because
That
that's how
was
those
sort of
shows are
set
set
up.
up. Yeah.
And then like that show Next, like
Yeah.
a little bit of that structure was also moved on to those shows, like where people would talk straight to camera as themselves. Like
you
describe
can't
who
say
they
that
are.
MTV created talking to the camera.
Like no, it's talking
But
head.
you
Talking
can
head
say,
shows were
but you
No,
can say that they
MTV.
definitely
Yeah.
popularized it.
Yeah,
no,
Also,
Definitely
VH1
popularized
was
it.
created after MTV. They could obviously
Yeah.
like take all the things that are working
And
like,
that's
use
smart.
it.
That's
Yeah.
smart of
Use
them.
it for their show. But I also feel like what they did in Behind the Music, they like created an arc, right? Like
Mhm.
it wasn't just the happy stuff. It wasn't just the amazing stuff. Like they showed people having anxiety and depression. And like I feel like those are some of like the real themes that VH1 actually cultivated
That
in their
was
shows
helpful for me to
versus just
see.
being like flash happy, flash this, like fashion,
Well,
Cyndi
yeah.
Lauper, whatever you're saying.
I have a
Like,
note.
No, but just show
No, I
and
think
for
it's
young
important.
girls, like me and Monica both had a lot of anxiety and we were alone most of our lives.
Totally.
And seeing that like other people are struggling, these musicians that we look up to and think are amazing, and they're also struggling and sad, I didn't feel so bad about all my sadness.
But
Yeah,
we
it's like
would
a
see
hero's
that on
journey.
MTV.
No,
It was
I
just
wanna- I wanna
amazing.
say that as
Yeah.
well,
I
like
think
the
we
comment
would.
about like MTV just being like flashy and like, but everybody has had that moment. The majority of us as millennials anyway have had the moment where we've woken up and turned on MTV, and y'all know the look when Kurt Loder is standing there by himself and you know your favorite celebrity done passed away.
Who?
Like that's
Oh,
super
Kurt?
Yeah.
impactful. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's another moment where I feel like, okay, this is something that I want to do because that's super important news to deliver. And I feel like Kurt Loder always delivered that news with like the utmost care.
I agree.
you
I
know?
agree. Yeah. It was
That's
kind of where you went for
impactful.
news. Yeah. I went for like, it was like stuff in magazines I didn't really trust at the time. So like, it was like, did you see that on MTV? It
And
was
I
sort
wasn't
of like
watching
the
Barbara
beat.
Walters.
No,
Too damn
no.
young.
Barbara
I
Walters.
was.
yeah, I was as well.
Oh.
Come on, 60 Minutes.
I was as well. Yeah.
I was.
Yeah. I think I was like a very intelligent little child. And
You
Alyssa
were.
knows this about me. So I think when I watched
Gifted.
news, I was very
Gifted
gifted in a
program.
lot of different ways. Gifted.
Yeah.
I was in the special gifted program.
Yeah.
And so when I'm watching MTV and I'm listening to the news, I go, there's something kind of not right
She
about
felt
this.
it.
I was
She
like,
knew.
I'm like, I kind of need to go to like a more reputable news source
She
to
was
be
like-
like getting this information. Like I felt that way.
Wait, so
Was
when you
that
went,
on VH1?
so,
And then VH1.
so when you went on your
Was that on VH1?
so when
Like
you went
CNN.
on your choir trip, were you like, oh, where's the VH1 office?
Oh, eat her up again. Eat her up again.
Because it feels like
Because
you
she
went
wasn't
to the
running to no goddamn top 20 countdown.
Yeah, I
You know
feel
what?
like you were at TRL.
I got into the children's chorus because I was following important artists.
Yeah.
Like Mariah Carey. That's how
Mariah Carey
Christina
was on the-
Aguilera and all these people who actually valued the art of singing. And that's why I was even in the chorus in the first place. And that's even how I
that's
got
how she
to
was
New
in
York
the-
in the first place.
and
And
that's how
that's
she was in
even
New
how I even saw the whole
Okay.
thing in the first place. And then that's what we're really talking about here because what we're saying is VH1 is for real down to earth girls.
And-
Name
and-
that
and
song.
just- and one
Name
more
that song.
thing.
Real down to
Down to
earth
Earth
girls.
One
Girls.
more
Lauryn
thing
Hill?
I'd like to say.
No, Outcast.
Oh,
I was
right.
going to
One
say,
more
yeah,
thing.
Roses.
You don't know
Yeah,
Outcast
Roses.
because you're watching too much MTV. And one more thing I would like
Outcast
to
was on MTV a lot.
A lot.
Just a quick side note. What would you like more? If you want Reese's peanut butter cups, and we're not sponsored by them, what would you want more of? 10 or 20? You would want 20. So why?
That's too much
talk
chocolate.
about-
What the hell are you
That's
talking
too much
about?
chocolate.
Yeah.
Why would you not want more of it? More videos. Hello? Remember
Hello?
top 20? You
Hello?
keep shading top 20? Enough.
Okay.
Enough.
Okay, let's get into the receipts.
Let's
Okay.
get into
Let's
the
get into the
receipts.
receipts.
Who's got the receipts? We've got the receipts.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Literally, okay, MTV, yeah, popular, yeah, blah, blah, blah. VH1 had incredible viewership. Okay? It had incredible viewership numbers. Just to name a few
Where?
things, okay?
Where is this?
1.5 million viewers
per day.
Where are you guys
Added
getting this?
1.5 million. Yeah, we have notes.
hot takes.
Every now
Yeah, we
and then,
took-
look,
yeah, we
every
took
now
notes.
and then I take
They're on the
notes,
longer one.
okay? And my producers, they are great, and they give us some.
On the other one.
1.5 million viewers were tuning in to watch VH1 every single day. Hello?
Hello.
Do you even know 1.5
And
million
behind the
people?
music, some of those episodes, like Whitney Houston and TLC, drew over 2
2
million viewers.
Okay, well,
That is good.
let us
I
get
like-
the notes
I
together
like-
so we can give you
We're
some
going to get your
facts.
notes together
Yeah.
in just a
Divas,
moment.
right.
We'll talk about Divas Live, right? 8.5 million viewers. It was the highest
go.
rated special on VH1.
And sure, I know earlier you said, why don't you guys go to the comments and say if you even saw
Mm-mm.
Divas or cared about it? it doesn't matter because they didn't have as much marketing going towards it. But they still were able to garner an audience like that because it was just pure raw talent.
It was Alyssa's aunts and uncles too. It
Yeah.
was all of our aunts and uncles watching, and it's important to include everybody. Okay, we're not just talking about
No, but
teens.
these TV networks are specifically for a range of people. 18 to 34, I believe, was MTV.
Yeah.
And there was approximately an average of 2.4 million people watching the channel per day.
Yeah, because they don't have to work and pay their bills. They're teens.
Okay, the 1999
They can watch
VMAs
TV.
attracted approximately 11.9 million people. That's not just a small group of people, you guys. That's everybody.
Okay, great.
VMAs
That's
so
great.
big
Yeah.
it streams
Oh, yes.
on VH1 too.
Because the
That's
VMAs are so
crazy.
huge and iconic. So 11 million, but like Divas, you said yourself, nobody even knows about it. But still, 8.5 million. That means we're only 3 million behind you, and we don't have any marketing. It's because of the talent.
One time?
we didn't even talk about pop-up
Yeah.
video.
One time?
Yes.
We didn't even talk about
Where's
pop-up video.
Divas
We did a
2024?
little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, because Tyrell alone averaged about 853,000 people were watching that show. That's insane. That's not
That's
just
not a
kids.
lot of people.
That's a lot of
How
people.
many was watching that damn countdown?
When I was there in New York, there was not a lot of people. When I was there watching TRL live, there was nobody there. Nobody
Look,
there.
and I don't wanna get
It was
bugged-
empty.
I don't
it
want
was
to get.
empty.
Okay,
how
she
about
knows
this?
New York. She
You know
knows
what?
New York.
You
I was
know
just gonna
when
do that.
Beyonce had a baby, allegedly a baby, she didn't reveal that on VH1, did she?
Show didn't.
Look, the
it was
numbers-
on the VMA stage. Spoiler.
Yeah.
The numbers don't matter.
But they also don't
At the end of
lie.
the day, the only thing that matters is what
What?
changed your life.
Yeah.
MTV.
MTV.
Well.
Picture it. The late 90s, early 2000s. There is a big, huge glass building in the middle of Times Square where there is one Mr. Carson Daly counting down our favorite music videos. And oh, wait, that's not it. You may have a celebrity guest come on in and share a special story or promote something, maybe even perform. And I feel like that is what shaped a generation.
Oh, interesting. I thought that was a beautiful story. For people like Monica and I,
The aunties.
Nancy Drew heads,
Nancy Drew.
kind of Nancy Drew heads, we
Yeah.
were more interested in the pop-up videos because not only are you seeing these amazing music videos, like the Spice Girls wannabe music video,
Not just
amazing.
that, not
It's
just
not
that.
just that. No.
No.
Not just that. You get a little bloop and a fact while you're watching it because when you're a young girl and you're so upset, like I remember being so obsessed with Spice Girls, like in a way that was like unhealthy, but I
Same.
was like I wanted to like eat it, like I
Yeah.
wanted. Do you know what I mean? I don't
And
know.
they're like,
There are a lot
did you
of months for
know?
that.
I'm like, give me more.
They'd be like, did you know?
and then I would be like,
The Spice Girls purchase their own outfits
Yes.
at thrift stores in London.
But also-
I didn't know that.
We didn't know that.
What's
I
better?
know.
What's better? To hear that from like some nerdy engineer who put it in there, or directly from the horse's mouth?
No.
We want to
Scary
hear it
Spice
from Scary.
telling us. I actually bought these outfits myself.
No, she never said
They
that.
never
No, you don't
did
know.
that.
They never
They
did
never
that.
did that.
No,
They
they
did.
didn't.
It
It
Carson
was all
knows it.
slime.
Yeah, they wouldn't give them time.
Slime.
Science
Nickelodeon.
is like
Time out.
Viacom is going to
Time
get
out.
y'all.
They wouldn't give them time to talk about that. Pop-up video was an incredible invention. That was way ahead of its time, if I'm being honest. It's way ahead of its time. You know, the graphics, the clip art.
Yeah.
Whoever invented pop-up video, shout out
Yeah,
to you.
shout out pop-up
God
video.
bless you.
What if you find out it's somebody from MTV? it's
not.
definitely
But
somebody
that's
who
what I'm
got fired
saying.
from
Like
MTV.
you're watching this and you're just like obsessed with it. Me and Mom, this
Yeah,
is
we
how
love
we used
it.
to watch
Yeah.
it. Show them with our faces.
oh,
Oh my god.
So y'all prefer
and
to
we're
read
reading.
facts versus hearing the facts from the horse's mouth.
Yes,
Directly
it
from a
helps with
celebrity.
reading.
I just want a
comprehension.
clarification.
No, I'm just saying that on tier. Do you guys see Josie and the Pussycats, that movie? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Nor.
basically takes, what MTV did and it, lets you know the reality that it's creating. It's a really
Yikes.
messed up movie. Shout out Josie and the Pussycats. And it's
Rachel Lee
showing
Cook.
there's like nothing real happening on him. We're not like getting real
not real.
facts. We're not like understanding real stories. It's just like Carson Loomba pants
but
someone's
guys,
slime.
sometimes
like,
I don't want to
headline.
know the real story. Like I want to see Whitney and I want to
Then
see her.
that's a
I don't
moment
want
to go to
see
therapy.
Bobby.
And I
You
want
know
to
what
watch
I
my
mean?
music videos without stuff being covered up by words and graphics.
Then I
I
think we
know.
need to chat
We
with
didn't have YouTube
BetterHelp.
back
We need
then.
to chat with BetterHelp for you guys.
Not
You know
You
what I'm
guys
BetterHelp.
need
saying?
to go to therapy.
You guys need to go therapy.
You guys
Talk
need
to
to
BetterHelp.
therapy.
I'm in
Go
therapy,
again.
somatic and physical.
It's time to double up,
Yeah.
bitch.
No, you gotta do 2 a days.
2 a days.
I know someone that does too.
All right, I love
Oh,
you guys.
nice.
Hey, I got nothing but love for you guys. All right. I got nothing but love for you
I
guys.
got nothing but love.
I'm just saying, and I know you'll never admit it, I know you were watching the heck out of pop-up videos.
No, I was watching pop-up videos.
I know you were.
obviously.
Video. I
Thank
just am mature enough to understand it wasn't better than.
But
TRL.
you know
okay,
what?
and TRL was cool. I remember it was cool.
Yeah.
You had to know what was going on. And I was very like, oh my gosh, Baby One More Time is still number one.
Yeah.
Wow.
20 weeks later.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool to know that.
I would
Yeah,
go to
true.
VH1 if something wasn't playing on MTV. It was my second choice. It was like a mistress.
Wait, do you guys
Like-
remember
That was
what
not as
channels
cute.
it was? Like I
50
remember
and 49.
43 and
49.
44.
49
For me, it
and
was
50.
29 and 43.
Guys, kids nowadays don't know what that means. Like we could just completely
Numbers, like I used to know
numbers.
all my
yeah,
friends'
Yeah.
numbers.
yeah.
Anyways.
That's sad.
Yeah, I feel like it just kept me entertained. There was always something going on. And if it wasn't, I would go to I would pop into VH1 and be like, okay, I guess I'll watch this. It was like sort of a secondary choice.
Right, and it
I
was the
agree.
opposite
You know?
for me. And it was the
Yeah,
opposite
it's
for me.
opposite for us. Yeah.
I mean, I just remember watching Next and being like, oh
Here's
my
the
God,
thing.
the
I want
brilliance.
to ask y'all something. Out of MTV and VH1, who had the better reality shows overall?
Well, hands down, you have to
Yeah.
say, because Flavor of Love is
Flavor
the
of
greatest
Love.
show of all time, it has to be VH1.
Celeb reality, someone died in that realm. So I think that automatically X's
Excuse
VH1
me?
out.
There was some unaliving happening at VH1. So
Let me
that
tell you
alone.
about this unaliving girl. So we already know about our favorite celeb reality shows: Flavor of Love, Rock of Love, I Love New York, etc. Well, there was one called Megan Wants a Millionaire. She was a very popular contestant on Rock of Love. One of those contestants allegedly unalived his supermodel girlfriend, and that is kind of what made the celeb reality universe cease to exist.
And I think
Dark.
I gotta give kudos to VH1 for, after something so tragic like that happened, they decided to cancel the programming.
Yeah.
Thank you, VH1. That's great. I can't say the same for MTV. I don't know. That's never happened. I don't think MTV would be canceling all their programming.
I don't.
Because
Yeah, I
there
think
was no
MTV
unaliving.
might have capitalized on
yeah,
it.
you
honestly,
actually don't
but
know
I think
that.
VH1
They might
Actually-
have covered it up.
You guys, there was no unaliving. There was just punked.
Pranks on celebrities.
Pranks on celebrities. They needed it. We wanted to see that side of celebrities, that playful side, that weird, like, I mean, Justin Timberlake crying about his guitar being gone.
Brandy sprinting down the street because she's thinking that Ray J is going to be arrested.
Oh my God.
I think with
Love
a show
it.
like Punk'd, though, it still is like not real. It's
Yeah.
not real. It's all
I was on it.
staged.
It was pretty real. We were actually punking people.
Really?
Mhm. Yeah, we were punking people. They were falling for it.
Receipts.
Yeah, when
proof,
the boat
screenshots,
blew up.
time, everything.
Yeah,
I
Taylor
was
Swift.
there.
Taylor Swift thought it was real. 100%.
That
They were
episode
all
is
for
so
it. Yeah,
That
they
was
fell
really
for it.
good.
Yeah.
Did she see the yacht exploding?
Yeah, she
So
thought it
funny.
was real.
Isn't she like with Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
When that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
like her
all the
and
actors
Justin
swam.
Bieber.
Yeah, it's real. It
And
was
she
real.
was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Oh no.
They
Oh,
were really
no.
getting punked, and then like a lot of episodes would get canceled if they knew, like, so
Did
we
you-
wouldn't keep going.
So is the one the one where Kristen Bell, the puppy?
I wasn't on that one.
Oh, good.
I was on the very last season of Punked when it was like when Ashton was like, I'm down with this. Like other celebrities host it. My favorite one was when Miley came in and they're like, Jade's gonna be playing your best friend, and she goes, I guess we be friends. But I was there, and these celebrities were really falling. Like it was
was
a
real?
It was
Was it
real.
staged?
It was not staged. Like we went beyond like money, resources, just to make sure we actually got them.
Was
like
Dax on the show then?
Dax was on the
That's
show
so
then.
Maybe
Yeah.
okay. So you're saying it was real, but maybe like deep down there was, because you weren't like the executive producer of it. I have a feeling that it wasn't real.
It was 100%
But to you,
real.
you're like, yeah, it's real, but maybe
No,
like,
we wrote this. We wrote all the pranks.
I
It was
know. I'm just
100%
saying
real.
they
Yeah.
always have to sort of like let celebrities know what's going on.
We did one where we wanted Chelsea Handler to go on a hike, okay? And then she had just gotten this brand new car, and we were like, okay, let's like switch out her car and put a bear in it. Okay, so she thinks that her real car, like while she's on the hike, this bear mauled her car. We did the whole thing. She canceled like the day of. So we had gotten an entire car, a bear, like it would happen all the time where like they would catch on and then the whole thing would have to be canceled. So the ones that happened like early on, those were the best because it
guess
wasn't a
that's
thing yet.
Yeah, and people
You
weren't
know?
expecting
Yeah.
and
You know what?
anticipating.
I
it.
must say, Punk'd is an important
Real
show.
entertainment.
Punk'd is an important
Yeah, it's
show. We
interesting.
do
And you
need
guys,
to be punked.
and like some of them, you got to see them like Ellen Pompey, like we got to see like kind of the side that we didn't know before. Like they would play like these really nice celebrities, and then on Punk'd we got to see like, oh, they're actually kind of a.
I'm actually,
It was fun.
I like that show. I don't like pranks. I'm
It was
bad
hard for
at
me.
them.
Yeah.
I'm bad at pranks. I tried to prank someone one time and I just organized their closet.
Surprise! I organized this.
So I don't know. I just was like, this is crazy, right? Like color coordinate. Anyways.
I feel like I loved pranks, but again, I feel like it is just in the court of like I think it gave people anxiety. Like celebrities for a while were like, oh my God, am I being punked? Like, is this a scenario? Like, and the same as like Jury Duty. You know what I mean? That show, if you don't know Jury Duty, it's a show where it's incredible. But basically this guy is he thinks he's in a normal jury duty, but it's actually a show all about him. And he genuinely has like so much anxiety after. You know what I mean?
Well, he has like an agent and everything now.
So I guess it's like, okay, we had these like punk and that's great, but like I want to kind of talk a little bit more about the cultural impact of Flavor of Love.
Yeah, let's get into Flavor of Love.
Let's do it.
I think that, you know,
Clocks and
Flavor of
spitting
Love.
in.
No, let's back up.
Pooping
Flavor
in.
of Love is an iconic human. He wears a cloth
Flavor Flav.
And he goes, Flavor
around his
Love him
neck.
to death.
And it's not little. It's like this
He's a
big.
professional hype man, which is the coolest job in the world and kind of my dream job. As a little girl, I didn't realize that was a job that you could have. And I was like, this is
Isn't he a
incredible.
rapper?
Well, but also he was like a hype man.
He's like the world's greatest hype
He's
man.
the world's
That's like his
greatest hype
thing.
man. Literally the world's greatest hype man. That is the coolest job you could ever have. So yeah, I want him to find love. So we bring all these girls on. He immediately gives all of them a nickname whenever he meets them, which is the funniest thing in the world.
He's like, I'm gonna call you this.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, okay. Like you're like, it looks like you play basketball hoops. And then, you know, I don't even know why he named one of them Pumpkin.
It's not explained. Some of them are not explained.
And yeah, so this show, like, I don't know what this show did something to me. It got into my DNA, it got into my bones, it got into my system in a way that was just like, and it was the first time we ever saw something like this. The first time we saw a dating reality TV show.
Wait, featuring a celebrity?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they invented like a dating show for celebrity. Yeah,
that's insane.
Which is so
was Flavor
cool.
Love the first one? Yeah, because it was before the Rock one.
Yeah,
and I'm obsessed that they chose Flavor Flav. Like they could have chosen like, oh, you know what I mean?
Well,
like
it was The Bachelor. It was a spinoff of The Bachelor.
It was a spinoff of Strange Love. So what happened was Flavor Flav and Brigitte Nielsen were on Just Real Life on VH1.
Real Life. That's what it was.
Then they got a spinoff called Strange Love, and then they broke up, and then, that's how Flavor Flav wound up.
Which is incredible, and all of this because of VH1's incredible programming. It doesn't get more explosive and outrageous than somebody on live TV.
Yes. Let's break that down. Let's break that down.
That is the realest moment I've ever seen in my life. It's just a real person. She had to go poop, and she wasn't allowed, and she pooped on there in the show, and they got that, and like. I feel like I'm that's me. I saw myself in that and I was like, wow.
And VH1 literally created a viral moment. Like
first viral moment.
Like also, a lot of shows might have been like, man, we're not going to air that. We're not going to air her walking up the stairs and a piece of poo falling out. But VH1 did because that's authentic. They're like, this is the dark side of reality TV. Yeah. This is a viral clip.
Who among us hasn't had to poop when trying to find love?
What is your TikTok feed these days if not people
pooping
shitting
their
themselves?
pants?
This literally paved the way. The first viral moment, VH1 created that. It's the
VH1
most important
brought us
thing.
that.
It's the most important moment of the 90s.
Most important moment of the 2000.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
2000.
I'll give it to you. The poop moment stayed with me forever and ever. I still think about it
Very
today.
memorable.
Yeah, very memorable. I'm in traffic. I think about it. It comes up for me.
We can turn the cameras off now.
Okay.
Thank you.
However, that wouldn't have existed if Real World, Road Rules, Next, the bus thing, Made, True Life, if all those shows hadn't happened beforehand.
How about this? The Real World on MTV invented the confessional. Something on Flavor of Love would not have even been able to tell us the story of the poop falling out of her ass cheeks had there not been a confessional invented by MTV.
You're giving MTV too much credit. If she didn't have a parfait that morning, it wouldn't have happened.
And also,
she ate the parfait.
Something she didn't even talk about it. The poop just came out and then she left.
She has a dairy intolerance.
Somebody else talked about it.
We don't remember her talking about it. All we remember is seeing it.
No, we didn't see it. We didn't see it. It was
matter.
talked about later.
You're making it.
I
doesn't
can
matter.
quote her saying it just slipped out. I have it on DVD. Like she literally said it.
That's our point.
Yeah,
that's our point right there.
You're trying to say MTV.
You have it on DVD.
You're trying to say MTV created people talking about what happened. No, go back.
No, you're not listening carefully. I said MTV invented confessionals. People can talk to cameras however they want. However,
were doing
that style of interview was invented by MTV, and we would not have that in our future reality shows.
Do we need to take a pause? Do we need to take a pause?
We need to take a pause. This is getting...
No, I'm just black and loud. I'm not even passionate. I'm just black and loud, y'all. Relax. Y'all relax. I'm good.
Yeah, I get passionate.
No, exactly. We see each other. Like, we see each other. Like,
I'm always okay.
I'm always okay.
If I'm not talking like this, I'm not okay. That's the... If I'm,
that.
Yes.
We'll give you the poop moment. Maybe
I
not.
so hear you. I love Flavor Flav. I love Flavor of Love. However, does Flavor of Love have the same impact and staying power as one Miss Jersey Shore?
Yeah, I mean, hello.
Because
They're
does.
still
I-
around.
To me, it
Jersey
does.
Shore
I
is
never
like
watched
still
Jersey
on
Shore.
the air today.
Never watched it.
Like it's
I
been
got
on
the
so
vibe.
long that Sammy was able to take a break, get a new man, start a business, and then
Yeah.
wake up and decide,
I
I'll be
feel
in the
like-
same
but
room
that
with Ron
doesn't mean
again.
that
I
the
saw
moment meant
Snooki one
something to
time.
you.
I
What's
saw
that
her.
like?
It was like we were walking on the same block in New York, and I was like,
Hey, Snooks.
Well, I'll say this. Okay, so Jersey
She looked
Shore, how many
incredible.
seasons? Like a
Like
million?
12?
Okay, but
More
they-
than 12
So
at
that's
this
what I'm
point.
saying. Like, okay, great, you had 12 seasons, but still, Flavor of Love holds so much more power. And there was only, what, 1 or 2 seasons?
There were 3.
3 seasons? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it still is like, that's why it's so much more
No,
powerful.
it got canceled. That's a
No.
bad thing.
No, it did get canceled.
canceled.
Because
I
the
know
third
that
season was
thing.
not
we need to
good.
fact check that. I don't know about
I don't
that.
think it got
No,
we
it
need to fact check that.
100%.
I feel like Jersey Shore was more impactful. I mean, you have like these 7, 8 strangers that move into the summer house in Jersey,
Guido's
and the,
tan. Love it.
and the cameras just said, "Go." We watched them go to work behind the house at the t-shirt shop. We watched them fall in love,
God.
fall out of love,
Fall
destroy
on
a
the
home.
beach.
Yeah. And I mean, it also produced multiple spinoffs the same way that Flavor of Love did. We had like the
Rock
Snooki
of
and JWoww
Love.
moment. And we had like Vinny had his own show at one point. Pauly D had
You know
his
what?
own show
Those
at one
at the
point.
at that time, VH1 and MTV were like back to back.
I
That's when
agree.
they were
Yeah.
like both just producing gold, but like MTV kind of started it. The Real World was really the root of it all. Like
You said
you
it.
have to agree with that.
Yeah,
It
well, I
was
mean,
the root of
I mean,
it.
MTV started first. A lot of
Yeah.
the things that VH1 did was based on MTV, but we feel like VH1 did them better in a more real, authentic way.
I think The Real World is a cool name for a show.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
So,
Okay.
I'll give you that. But was it real? I don't know.
And Flavor of Love was?
Yeah.
Okay, and then can I move on to this? Also, after all this stuff, then we started talking head shows in a whole new direction. Talk about Girl Code.
Get into it.
Girl Code. It shaped like women getting to be funny, women getting to talk about subject matters that we really weren't talking about that before, like sex and like periods and stuff like that. Like we get to be that. And then Guy Code. I mean, all those people on both of those shows are still working.
Always providing
Me
value
included.
to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm saying?
And
That goes
younger people.
beyond the music.
But I hate to bring it up. Like, it's music TV. Like, what are we doing?
What are we
We
doing?
still talk
well,
about-
it can't be 24 hours music.
Yeah.
We gotta have a little breaky break.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say this. I'll say this. Yeah, it's music TV, and like, okay, so you might say, oh, it's music TV, but like Flavor Flav is like a rapper, like, so it's like that's still, but it's like
Paralleled?
it's like weird. It's like we were doing stuff that was like, okay, let's get a rock star and let's have him show his love story. Whereas MTV was like, how about these like random teens? And it's
No,
like,
but it wasn't
okay,
random teens. Music is made from life, and life is like the
That's not
zeitgeist.
true always.
What do you mean? Like
Some music isn't made from love.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not know VH1 was still a channel.
That's fine.
I haven't seen anything on VH1 for a while. And not that MTV is like crushing with stuff, but you know,
They're not.
Werewolf, they still did that.
What, Teen Wolf?
Pretty
show?
sure
Teen Wolf,
MTV is just
Jersey
like
Shore is still on.
MTV is just a million episodes of
Ridiculousness.
Yeah.
But you know what? Ridiculousness is important.
And you know what? Back in the day, Rob Dyrdek actually made great TV shows. Like before we got to Ridiculousness, Rob and Big, God
And you
rest
know
his
what?
soul.
They
They're
stayed
excellent shows.
they stayed relevant. Like Catfish is very important to our life. You know what I mean? Like nobody was talking about that before. They still are on.
Sure. I
I
feel like
think-
that's interesting.
I think for
Yeah.
me, MTV has had impact and staying power. And I feel like VH1 only has one of those, unfortunately. Overall,
What do you think it is?
I think that VH1 is lacking the longevity. Because although they still put out their reality TV shows, they still show a little music here or there. I don't think we're really checking for it.
I
Isn't
would
it-
say MTV and VH1 are the same now.
How so?
actually. They're just both doing the same thing. Where
No.
they're just kind of like, it's like nobody's.
they're trying to be relevant.
Yeah.
They're trying to
so
stay
I
relevant.
think that's weird to say that VH1 doesn't, like, MTV doesn't have any.
Well, we
like,
still have the
longevity.
VMAs. The VMAs are still very important.
When
Things
I-
are still happening.
Yeah, like when I
The
think about
VMAs.
longevity, I think about like the VMAs. I think
Yeah.
about Jersey Shore. I think about like the things that still keep them. Like,
Sure,
in
I think
the
no
And
one-
conversation.
VH1 is just playing a lot of like how Stella got her groove back, like back
Which
to
is
back.
an amazing movie.
It's a great movie.
Like Love and
crazy
Hip Hop.
to say. Let's
Well,
just go ahead and
yeah.
summarize our points here. Here's what we're saying. VH1 is real. VH1 is
Raw.
raw. And it's actual like longevity careers of musicians. It's actually talking about music, unlike MTV. The majority
Okay.
of MTV is talking about, God, I don't even know what.
They just want, again, they just want the clickbait. They want to
Clickbait.
get ya. They want to get ya.
And VH1 is showing people of all ages, a lot of diversity there.
And they're
okay,
saying, it doesn't
okay.
matter how old you
Doesn't
are.
matter how old you are.
you are gonna matter to me no matter what. And you're not washed up.
Uncles matter, aunts matter,
Okay.
cousins matter. All of these people,
Nephews.
VH1.
Y'all be
Okay.
thinking about all of that after school before a snack time moment?
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely not. I
You
am
know
running
what?
home and I'm watching
I
Carson
agree.
Daly.
MTV is the zeitgeist of our generation. It's the most important moment of our generation. It's what built us. It's my first job that I ever had. It's my entire life. Like the MTV culture is what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for MTV. And you guys know that you wouldn't either. So just admit that.
I would absolutely be here in a more powerful way.
and probably
MTV,
healthier.
maybe. MTV has actually stopped me from getting most of
We'd
my
actually
dreams.
hurt me.
Yeah, we'd be mentally If MTV didn't exist, we would be mentally
That's
healthier.
not
and
true.
I know
Yeah.
you have a POV on that, so go ahead and put that down
I want to
in the
know
comment
what
there.
you guys think about that.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways, those shows were really weird. Like, Date My Mom, not appropriate. You shouldn't be
Yeah,
doing
but
that.
it's fun. It's
Pimp My Ride, not appropriate.
Pimp My Ride
It's incredible. People need aquariums inside their cars.
Not appropriate.
VH1 is for gals that wear power
Overalls.
suits.
Yes.
Okay.
I wear overalls too.
Power suits.
Yeah.
VH1
Power suits.
is for the girls that wear power suits and aren't afraid
And
of aging.
tracksuits. Power
And
suits and
MTV is for
tracksuits.
power
MTV.
suits too, but they're just a little shorter.
With rhinestones.
In general, we're talking about nostalgia, right? We're talking about like what was popular in the 90s. And I feel like that is like, yeah, right now, VH1 is doing some like incredible reality TV shows still.
Question mark.
MTV, I'm not quite sure what y'all are doing, you know what I mean? But at the time, I feel like VH1 really focused on the music and really was like this like authentic voice for a lot of people and did what they did well.
Yeah,
and you
but-
think VH1 was better than MTV in the 90s and early 2000s?
I do.
Absolutely.
I do. And
Flush it
that's
down the
why,
toilet.
That's why
That's where you come in.
we need you guys. You know
We
what I'm saying?
need
Because VH1 was just like iconic and had so many important like music stories being told, authentic music stories being
The
told.
raw story.
Sunday
The raw
morning by
story.
Maroon
So
5
we need
playing
you to
all the
kind of go
time.
down and
It's
make
true.
your vote. Just
Yeah.
decide who really was better.
And when you
VH1.
make a vote, just think about all the teen moms that wouldn't have told their stories if it wasn't for MTV.
Think about all that you have learned through watching MTV's programming.
Yeah.
Not from celebrities, but about you.
Yeah, did VH1 make condom sales rise?
and also raise your hand if you're in therapy because of MTV.
Probably
And raise your
me.
hand
your
if
hands
you
up.
have a career because of MTV.
I have to be honest with you guys. Like, I know this is sort of like a fun show and we're all having a good time, but can I tell you a true story?
Yes,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So, like, when I was in third grade, I moved to a new school, and obviously that's scary if anybody's
hard.
ever moved before in their life. And my uncle,
Just
he
countries.
he owned a candy store, and so I had access to a lot of candy. And I got this big barrel of Spice Girls gum, which was like, not the best gum in the world, but each gum individual piece had a Spice Girls sticker. So it was like Mel, it was like Scary Spice,
Big deal.
Spice, and it was like you never knew who you're gonna. So one day I go to this new school and I'm sitting at lunch with kind of a girl that's like not popular. I bring in the Spice Girls gum. I start passing it out to everybody. Immediately invited to the cool club. The cool.
Really? Oh, you
I'm
ate
not
that.
joking you. This is a true story. I got invited into the cool club because of Spice Girls gum. And if I hadn't been popular in third grade, I don't know where I would be today. Now, granted, then later on in sixth grade when I didn't develop breasts, I got kicked back into the losers table, and that's fine. But for that one moment from third to fifth grade, I was the coolest
You
girl in
peaked.
school. This is true.
And
Like
it's
because
because
of
of
Spice
pop cul-
Girls.
pop
It's because
culture.
of pop culture and Spice Girls gum. That's how powerful pop culture is.
It's a very powerful
that-
story,
Am
listen.
I okay?
I like that moving schools was a big deal for me. I moved countries in
It's not a
1995.
competition.
No, I have to admit, like what brought me together with my group of friends is like they needed a Scary Spice, and I was the most ethnic person in the school.
Why does that always happen to us? Why
It's
is that
true.
you're like
so they were like, "Come on
huh.
in, we need a Scary Spice," and I was like, "Finally, my moment," you know. Wow, that one really got emotional. I feel like I'm hot, I'm cold at the same time. We're dying. VH1, MTV both had huge cultural impacts on our lives and teens and the 90s and nostalgia. But I think ultimately we all agree that MTV is just a better network.
Clearly.
Well.
Well, interesting.
We're interesting. We're all friends now. Like
Yeah.
I think y'all made a bunch of really great points,
Same.
and I learned a couple things about MTV. I will say,
I
but
did.
I do feel like ultimately Alyssa and I are from the woods, and we
VH1 really stands the test of time.
and it raised us in a really positive way. And I
Mhm.
think that now we click on less clickbait headlines.
And VH1 reminded me that doesn't matter how old you get,
Yep.
you're always going to be a diva.
Yeah, and MTV reminded me that sometimes you can get unplugged and still be relevant.
Amen.
But guys, what do you think? I
Yeah.
mean, chime in. It's really up to you, really.
Tell me about why Flavor of Love changed your life.
And vote, because next episode we will reveal who won this episode.
Guys, this has been Rivals. And if you want to check out our other episode, Christina versus Britney, you can click right here. We'll see you next time.